States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today's date is June 16th, 2026, and time is meeting 6:32. I'd like to get a roll call. Hutchinson?
Here.
Webb?
Here.
Mikey?
Here.
Howell? Here. Green?
Here.
Manager here. And Solomon absent. Everybody should receive the council meeting minutes for last month. Any discussion that we need to have about those? More questions? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Next meeting.
Oh. All right. Any questions about that? Okay. We should have the treasurer's report as well. Is there any questions over the treasurer's report? And just to give an update on that, I have been working to get everything in. We have not got everything in there for June next or June not. Not that I've seen one there. I know she's going to check for me when we leave that place. That's right. Other than that, the times that I've been there,
I'm doing what I can to get it okay.
there shouldn't have been any late payments on these bills that I've seen so far. So everything should have been paid on time and up to date right now. Okay.
I actually just got a text from Amber saying that she would have been here, but her son is in the emergency room.
Everyone good here? Looks like we've also got all the department heads reports. Are there any questions on these?
I'm sorry, was that all the department head reports? Yeah, I have a question. I was looking through the last couple of police reports, and I noticed something rather odd, and I wanted to ask the chief about it. I'm adding up all the mileage that the officers are covering, and I'm looking at the gas consumed, and it doesn't quite do the math for me. We're way down on mileage, and we're not way down on fuel consumption, and I was kind of wondering what's going on. I just want to give a couple of examples since you guys don't get to see these reports so that you understand what we're talking about. If you take from 416 to 515, and you add up all of the mileage from all the officers, it comes out to 2,779 with a total fuel consumption of 271.7 gallons. And you just kind of go down to the next month, kind of the same figures, except for all the mileage drops way down. We're actually down 1,125 miles, but we're only down 5.7 gallons of gas. Now, that seems kind of strange to me, and I get the fact that the we've been through this with the cars have to stay running. I understand that. But I can tell you from experience that until today, when I saw a few officers over doing an assist in my neighborhood with a medical call, I haven't seen an officer driving through my neighborhood in a month, easy. So I was just wondering what is going on with the huge decrease in mileage.
We were asked to be responsive, not patrol as much to try to save fuel consumption. Unfortunately, due to the vehicles have to remain running all the time because of the electronic systems in them. When we're on duty, fuel consumption was actually worse. Granted, fuel consumption being worse maybe because we're in hotter months and the AC is on, but whether we're running miles or it's just sitting there running idling, we're getting about the same fuel economy as far as that goes. So we actually did not save anything on fuel.
So you were told not to patrol to save fuel, which you didn't, because you were told not to, but we saved 5.7 gallons of gas.
I actually used 5.7 more.
Okay. So I guess the obvious question is who asked you not to patrol? For me, because it didn't come from the council. I mean, I don't even put you on the spot. I'm sorry to do that.
Kind of put me on the spot.
And I don't mean to, but I think that, okay, I'll withdraw that question. Whoever asked you to do that, it was ill-informed because we're using more gas. We're still paying officers to be here, and we're not getting the neighborhood patrolled. So I'll withdraw the question on who asked you to do that. But this is unacceptable to me. I don't know about anybody else in the community, but, you know, if I'm going to pay an officer to be here, the car's got to be running anyway. You know, let's patrol the neighborhoods. It isn't going to take long. It didn't take me long to figure out that I'm not getting patrols in my neighborhood. You know, I mean, I'm at home a lot and I notice it. Not a lot of people come down Locust. And so when somebody does, I kind of notice it. My dog for sure notices it. And I don't know, these numbers are just stunning to me. When I look at these reports, it's the sheer drop in miles covered with no gain. It'd be different if we were saving, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars on gas, but it doesn't seem that we are. So I guess when the mayor returns, we need to revisit this, but, you know, I don't know, I'd like to hear what other councilmen have to say about it, but I think this is a pretty bad policy. And I don't think that the officers want to be sitting around here instead of out patrolling. So, I don't know. I'd be interested in what anybody else has to say about it, but I find this completely unacceptable.
Kind of shocked to hear that, and we just recently had a situation with a woman whose dog got hit and she had to carry it home, and that was a really unfortunate thing, and patrolling matters. So, and I guess we also now have a place to mark minutes where we can show that not patrolling doesn't save us anything on fuel for any future ideas that might roll through.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add to the report? Yeah, actually, I didn't put it in this report. We have seen an influx of people posting on social media that, problems, dogs at large, dogs being attacked at Brown Beach, people being attacked by dogs at Brown Beach, but they're not calling it in, and then I've seen on many social media sites on the city's Facebook page, somebody saying don't even bother because when you call the city, they tell you to call Marion County. And we've posted it several times. That's because Marion County is our dispatch. Anything that goes on in the city limits of Shoals. When it gets called in to us, we have to have that official record of something being called in. Because we don't have dispatch in-house here. The sheer cost of that would be astronomical for us. And so, Marion County is our dispatch. In order for us to go to a call, it's supposed to go through Marion County first, so that there is an official record of it. That way, like I said, we're picking on anybody. If we get several calls from the same location, and it goes to court, we don't have to try to say, well, your neighbor's calling all the time, or what it comes from Marion County, and there's an official record of it, they can go forward, they can pull the dispatch logs and see that, no, it is official, it's not just. But yes, it all calls, if it's an emergency, call 911, that goes to Marion County. If it's a non-emergency, it needs to go to Marion County non-emergency, and then an officer will be dispatched as quickly as possible.
Anybody have any questions or comments on that? So, because I don't know, what would it take if we wanted to have our own dispatch in the citizens requirement? What would that take?
So you have to look at it like this: dispatchers are 24/7 because that's just how that works. If you have to have your own 911 dispatch, so that would require a minimum of 5 employees just for dispatch, and then hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment on top of 5 employees. So they're looking at 5 employee packages, and again, that's just for dispatch. More than 5. Oh, that's true. 2 on, so it'd be about 10. Sorry.
So we can't afford that.
We're in the middle of doing a radio grant for the county, just the county departments for the fire, just equipment. It's going to be a $1.7 million grant.
Is that?
It'll be to help with what the dispatch is now, but it's going to be all included in the equipment. The last radio grant we did was the dispatch system itself. Dispatch is owned, the equipment that's there is owned by the fire department in the Marion County district. It's housed at the sheriff's office. So this grant will actually renew what equipment is there being used, and then the sheriff's office is also going to use for a grant. I think it's over $1 million, and then we'll update the other half of the sheriff's office equipment. So if we can do over $1 million. That's the whole account system, that's everything. But yeah, everything's all included. So all the repeaters, everything that would have to be updated. Repeaters itself is about $3,000. So you have to have one for both police and fire. If you're having your own dispatch system, you have to be able to base both out of one system.
What was our rate for that?
That's for ISO rating. Our radio system, that's a whole other ball of wax. But the radio system currently was only given, when we were tested, 2 out of 10 points. And because at the time they had no protocol, so.
And you know what our current ISO rating will be?
For both Shoals was class 5. Everybody's in the process of retested it every 10 years.
When does that happen?
I was told Friday, I believe, it's going to be sometime between fall and spring. They're in the middle of doing all of Patrick County. Marion County's already got a few departments that are scheduled doing ISO testing. The ones that haven't scheduled will just get tailed and get thrown into each product.
When you educate everybody on what ISO means,
So, I'll give you the real brief version. It's a whole big, I mean, and I could have brought binders. The binder sits about this thick. It's going to test on everything that the fire department does. So it's your insurance service office is what ISO means, and it gives you a rating for your property tax or your property insurance. It's based off of the department's response capability. So 5 is pretty average. There are a few 4s around us, Fairview being one and Grover being one. So both on both sides of the door. They utilize that off of their auto aid, and so they get a lot of points for us. You don't get quite as many points for them as the both volunteers. Paid personnel help, you name it, there's a lot of stuff there. Now, each paid firefighter is worth 3 volunteers when it comes to points. So, we're a little low on that one right now. So, volunteers are hard to get. So, that's nationwide.
is there anything that we can do to help our ISO rate?
So the last time we were tested, the efficiencies we had, the point of what we were lowest on water system, needs some improvement. And then, we've got a few things that kind of taken place since last time we were tested. We've got, obviously, new items, more items in place. We've got a few other things, towers, the transition lines, community towers, communication. So that's been upgraded. It's really mostly our size, our water lines, that's really it. Pressure, so, you know, it's just a lot of money. So, those were our shortfalls. That makes it that and dispatch. So, we're hoping to have most of those in place. You know, we've addressed a few things here and there to get some better points for us.
What about the fact that what we were trying to take over Fairview?
And the whole big ball of wax that it takes a long time to discuss.
How does that affect us?
If they take it over, we lose a auto aid, so it doesn't affect us.
Without it, make us go over.
A little bit.
What do we do with that? How do we rectify it?
There's some things in motion that we're trying to get work together with them. We talked about moving some of Full Shoals out into Fairview. Right now we respond to everything on Bull Mountain. It's not much, but there's about 10 roads back there on top of Bull Mountain where I live. We've taken those over years ago. The other city limits on a few roads back off of Belmont. But anyway, we talked about also setting up a rural department that would be able to take over from a Fairview. We talked to the chief for Fairview within Ray Valley. That if that's possible, it would put us closer. So ISO scores you off of your auto agent scores, or is rated out of how far your other department is, your neighboring department. Within 7 miles is what they're looking for. Anything outside of that is classified as mutual aid. Get less points for mutual aid to do auto aid. So we're hoping if we move further that way, we'll be able to absorb another auto aid further out.
And Lincoln does have an auto rate.
It does. There are some issues with it because it's on a separate dispatch system. They do still classify as auto aid.
If we were to get a rural fire department like that, how much do you think that would cost the city, and would there be a return?
It's early for me to say. I mean, I know we talked about it briefly the other day. there's money that we could bring in, because if we do open a rural department, we can, apply for sales tax and A33, specifically for that department, to bring more money in. Not home does the same thing, and what we would do with rural is contract with the city of Shoals to cover that area. If we did that, we would actually be bringing a little bit more money in, because we can do full Shoals because it's municipality, we can membership fees for the fire department, jewelry does, and that's completely separate, but, the fire department can essentially do the same thing on the rural.
Anybody have any questions on that?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So would someone be in the position help with?
Yeah, like I said, and that's why I brought up the council, would be to get the full-time position back. So, that's why the push before, because we had, people pay the part-time as well, have more personnel paid.
Are you down in Williams currently?
We were budgeted 2 years ago for, 2 full-time and 2 part-time.
And what do you have now?
1 full-time, 1 part-time.
Is the problem that the budget, and the money's not there, or is it just you can't find somebody for what you can pay?
Mostly it was the budget. A little bit wasn't there, taking that in our budget.
Well, you have any questions you want to discuss on your? Sorry.
Also, yeah. Sorry, Karen.
What would you like that? No.
Well, I mean, we looked at some equipment today and honestly, getting stuff done with it. Is there anything you would like to elaborate on the equipment, the issues you've got going on currently?
I've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dead vehicles, and I've got 3 that are, I had parked. I actually had 6 vehicles. Our daily driver Chevy is down because the brakes are shot on it. The 20-ton dump truck, stuff on the brake bed, it's still functional, not running or anything, so we're still able to use it. Got one of the sewer trucks that broke axle in it. I have a lot to do. I have got the tipper up and running that, got the injectors to work, and we've got to get time to, do it. I'm pretty small, but trying to keep up the grass, keep the piles filled up, and moving limbs and trimming limbs and everything else. So, and I got one guy and me and a part-time guy. So I don't have enough people.
You know how many folks have?
Should have 4.
Is that the one I said up the street?
Yes, 4 for streets, 2 for water, 2 for sewer.
Yeah, I think that was short.
For short, 3 guys in streets, 1 guy in water, obviously Ryan's out in medical, but we have Ed and Mike for sewer, so we're covered there.
Any councilman have any questions on the form, the department, or moving to the special one?
I've got a question, and I think I know the answer to it, and I wish that the mayor was here to answer my question, but how many of you guys were here at the emergency meeting we had? Okay, one of the issues that we talked about in the emergency meeting was hiring a mechanic, and the council was asked to approve that. Anybody remember how that turned out? Okay, we didn't approve him. And was he hired?
Yes, you heard, you didn't approve the hiring, you disapproved the, 2/3 vote to have him removed.
Right. So, it was brought to the council to hire this person. We debated it. I remember a lot of people had things to say about it. And one of them was the salary. And after the meeting, if I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, how long after that meeting was he hired?
He was hired before the meeting. Mayor doesn't need the council's approval.
I understand that, Earl, but don't bring it in front of the council.
That's not what he brought in front of the council. It was the 2/3 vote to have him removed if he, something started.
Okay, that's not what was presented to me. It was a vote to hire this person. We voted not to hire this person. I don't know this guy, I have nothing against him. But we debated it, we talked about it, everybody had their 2 cents worth, we voted on it. And now you're telling me that that was all basically didn't really matter because he was hired before we even voted on it. And I don't think that that's what the public, is that what y'all understood? Anybody out there understood that?
I understood it was all taken.
Yeah.
It was taken.
Okay.
The whole issue was taken.
Right.
It was taken because of
I would like to
Not certified.
kind of play
That's what was asserted.
devil's advocate here. There's a division here that I think we need to take into consideration. What was brought in front of us was for an appointed position. It is true that the mayor can hire whoever he can. I can understand people's frustration with that. But there is a clear delineation, and I agree with Merle and the mayor. I know everyone's, sorry. But there is a clear delineation between what was brought in front of us and then what had already happened. I point more to the fact that we have serious shortcomings in the people that we need to help Merle to get the city done. And when we're paying people $11.50, is that what it is for minimum right now, Merle? For
That's the minimum,
Well,
but lowest paid
well,
rate is $12.50.
and this now points in a different direction of how do we compete with McDonald's when you can flip a burger for $15 and to come get a dish for us for $12.50. So I think part of the issue we're looking at here is, and where the frustration comes, is we wanted to see some pay increases so we can help retention of employees and the people like Susan, who is doing all the extra jobs right now. And I will say this in part because of us. So we need to really look at this from a different aspect, and I think we need to remember that what was brought in front of us was for an appointment. I'm not sure why that was the direction we wanted to go with it when we could have just hired someone that's kind of done with now, I guess. So I'm with you, I understand, but we have a situation where it's not what we can do.
There is a misconception on the fact that he is not certified. He does not have to be certified to work on city vehicles. He has to be certified to work on brakes on the emergency vehicles. And he is more He worked for me for 2 years. I know how to do it.
I'm not questioning his qualifications, anything about his personality or anything else. I just think it's a little disingenuous to find out now that he was hired before it was brought up for a vote, and he's making more money than anybody else in the city, because there is some animosity about that. And that's just a fact. I've heard it from everybody that works for the city. I've heard complaining about it. And I think if you're going to present something as something, then, you know, you got to kind of live with that.
And would you rather me take these to dealer and home pay?
No, I would rather have an honest debate about hiring somebody and do that rather than have a mock vote after someone's already been hired, and it looks like we're voting to hire this person, and it just rubs me the wrong way. It rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Can I say something?
Yeah, well, yeah.
So this person, yes, he was hired. They brought it to you guys, as Mike said, as an appointment. So that way, if whoever comes into office can't go down there and say, you're gone, you're fired. Maybe. So what they wanted was an appointment when this guy, because he's got a family, he's got, you know, all this, he wanted to come work for the city, help get our machinery, get our equipment, get everything back to top notch and what we need to take care of our city.
And I
And the
understand.
appointment was for you guys. It has to be a 2/3 vote to get rid of him. That's what that was about. It wasn't about any animosity, because Bill can hire anybody he wants to work for the city. They brought it to you as an appointment for that decision.
And I agree with that, and you're 100% right. The way it was presented, I don't think was very clear, and I don't think it was very fair. I am not against, obviously, we have to get the city up and running. I get that. I sit on a lot of committees where I hear all of this stuff. I understand that. I'm not thick, okay? I just don't like the way this was done. Period. The way it was done, it was not done. I don't think it was done very straightforward, very honestly, and very upfront. I'll be interested to see in citizens' comments if anybody else has anything to say about it. But what I've heard is a lot of people did not appreciate that. The way it was done, just the way the whole thing was. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we don't need to fix things. I'm not saying this guy doesn't deserve job security. I'm not saying any of that. I've never said that. I have always tried to give every employee here the best pay that we can do, everything that we can do to retain people. That's the key, is retention. It'd be nice if we could pay everybody $20 an hour. It'd be nice if everybody in the city was appointed by the council so that they all had job security, because they all have families too. That's what I'm saying. Is let's not just single one person out to do that, and let's make it clear what we're doing when we're voting on it. I'm not, you know, I don't know this guy, he could be great. That's not the point. It's not about him. It's about the way it was done, and it's about answering to the citizens and making sure that everybody understands exactly what the rules are and what the game plan is. And when it looks like you're going around that, it doesn't look good. That's what I'm trying to get across. It's not that we don't need things fixed. I know we do. I know Merle's working way more hours than he should be. Well, you're supposed to work 20 hours a week? That's a joke. I know that. I've seen you in town running all over the place. You're probably working 80 hours a week. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to the one employee in running the streets that has to do everything. None of this is fair. what I'm trying to do is make sure that when we do something and we're sitting up here, that we're doing what the citizens want us to do and what they understand that we're supposed to be doing. That's it.
Do we have any other questions or comments on the report? Council member comments? Yes, that's probably. Already done.
I don't think anybody else wants to hear mine away for at least another week.
No, you're fine. Yes,
I want to say one thing. I will say one thing. On the chicken, just in case anybody is still following the chicken drama, the reason I did not have it up for this workshop is because the city attorney is on vacation and he isn't going to have time to look over it and make sure that it's all copacetic. So not at this workshop, obviously not at the council meeting next Thursday, but next month at workshop, I will have the ordinance completely finished. The attorney will have gone through it. It'll be presented. Hopefully then at the council meeting next month, we can get that ball rolling. So I haven't forgotten about it for all of those that are still following the chicken. And Officer Babb has made many great comments about how we should have the chicken ordinance passed if it passes. And there's apparently mandatory things that the ordinance officer has to say. And it all has to, it requires clucking noises when you do it. Anyway, seriously, I will have that stuff ready to go. And it's not this month, but it'll be next month. So it is coming.
Thank you. Alan, you have anything?
Well, ready to move down to the old business.
Before we get there, whatever you want, we're in the comments part. We have time.
Okay, one of the things that I think that is kind of pressing, we've got to come up with a reporter. And that was kind of left in limbo. Everybody agrees we need one, but I don't know that we've taken many positive steps to get it done. One of the things that occurred to me is we had some discussion on the hours involved. How many hours is it going to be? And it was brought up that with, I guess, the extraordinary amount of FOIA requests, the workload of that job has got quite a bit bigger. And it occurs to me that one of the things we've got to do is figure out an appropriate salary. And we kind of hung up on that when we talked about it before. I don't think you can get somebody to take a part-time job who have had time to work for 14 or 15 bucks an hour. I don't believe it's going to happen. And yet we're required to have one. So I guess we need to find a way through this and figure out how can we advertise to get somebody in here.
100% we need to have a recorder. We know that legally, all that jazz. But Resolution 2026 R14 that brings salaries and hours and such into question is a complete transfer of what that position did before. Before the recorder just came in, did minutes, got their $100 just like us, 2 seconds, and then we added in these FOIAs. And for one, I think it's making the position incredibly undesirable. I don't know anyone that wants to come in and do FOIAs, and not knowing when, and it's up in the air. So, if we have money to hire new people for streets, and what about, I know we hired a part-time person, I've yet to meet her, I heard she's great.
She's there to help with the water, because everyone's on vacation.
Yeah.
And
So is it possible to make, Erica's going to come back from vacation, so she won't need help with water. As part of that part-time position, can we increase the position to include the FOIAs, or? But we also, but a recorder doesn't want to either, and we're changing the job of the recorder from what it has been legally for the minutes keeper, not the records of the city hall. She's not responsible for the documents that come into city hall. She's required, or the person is required to record what happens here, document and present, not our bills and our lobby payments and our tax records. The recorder has nothing to do with that legally. So what we are trying to do with Resolution 26R14 is actually change the recorder position into something else that isn't actually legally required to do by turning it into an hourly wage. And I think we're really coming into a big speed bump here because who wants to come in and do FOIAs? We're trying to turn this into an hourly position when it was supposed to be a 2-meeting and some typing and a presentation to the mayor and the council. You guys know what I'm saying? Like we're trying to add more things to do to a position that didn't initially require that.
Susan, did I see you post something on Facebook about the position being open? And I apologize because I read so much stuff. What was the job description that you posted?
Well, I put in there that you can get the full job description online or come to City Hall. I don't have it in front of me.
The job overview is the primary responsibility of the recorder is to attend and record minutes for the city meetings monthly or as needed. Ensure all minutes are up to date and available for review. And then we have a brand new sentence at the bottom that says, respond to FOIA requests as they come in. That didn't exist before. Neither did the hourly wage. So I think we have a much easier time convincing a community member who can type at 5 words per minute to come in and sit there with a recorder as we've done in the past, go home and do that and submit it to us, rather than trying to turn this into a mid-management position to handle documents that they never legally were required to even look at. So,
I would urge you to look at the state law that defines what that position entails.
we didn't have it before, so have you seen it? I mean, you're saying that like as though you've read it, but...
It's just like the state law only requires the recorder to, in the minutes, not give you 17 pages of minutes that he said this and he said that. They only have to record the things you voted on.
Well, I'm willing to bet the state law doesn't say the recorder is required to do FOIAs, or else we'd be dealing with this issue across the state.
So if Susan, I guess it's a question to you, if we went to what Mike's saying, where we just had somebody come in and just do the bare minimum, do the recording, call the roll, do all that stuff, and type it all up, and give it to us, you're still going to need help with FOIAs, right? So that means that we've got to get somebody to do that, but the pressing need is we've got to get someone sitting in that chair writing down the minutes. And I agree with Mike, it's going to be a whole lot easier to find somebody to just do that, who gets paid like we do, where they just come in for the 2 meetings, that's it, they go home, they type it up, they're done, quick and dirty, rather than having to come in and dig through boxes of paperwork to find bank receipts from 1962 because someone filed a FOIA form. That's not an attractive job. Obviously, this woman that you hired knows that it's not because she's avoiding it, and I don't blame her, by the way, but it sounds like the pressing need is that somebody's got to be sitting there writing down the minutes, and it's going to be a whole lot easier to find them if we do just go with a strip down, come in, write the minutes, get your $100, get on out.
It's my opinion that we can speak with it. We like the type of question. Susan, just a question, when Erica goes come back from vacation, what duties will
the young lady.
Right now, she's only working 20 hours a week right now. Still looking for her, learning the job, learning the water side. But then after that, it'll be, as needed.
Well, this is obviously something we need to find. Presiding mayor, director, have you found anything at the recorder meeting with employees?
I actually just sent him with the state of Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
Under the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act, the person with the administrative control of a specific record is designated as a custodian responsible for that record. Consequently, a second-class city is designated employee custodian depends on the specific type of record requested. Since duties are divided by record type, we should direct your request to the following city officials: city reporter treasurer, responsible for city council minutes, ordinance, resolutions, and general city financial records. The mayor responsible for day-to-day administration and general and executive files. Police chief responsible for police reports, logs, departmental reporting files. And the city clerk responsible for licensing and remit. Miscellaneous responsible for filing records.
You don't have to put. You also don't have to work for the treasurer. Well, you have the treasurer. You don't have to. You would be responsible for the financial.
Right, so it sounds like
It's all about it.
the treasurer is responsible for the financials, the mayor is responsible for the administrative, police and fire responsible for theirs, and then clerk is for city business. So, as I think that circles back to putting this on to somebody who's just supposed to be taking the minutes and reading is a couple of deals when it seems as though maybe our FOIA issues are, obviously we need someone to help, but the state law specifically divvies it up.
We don't have a city clerk because we're city of second class.
Because it's a second-class city in the state of Arkansas, can have a city clerk, however, the position is officially classified and elected as a city recorder or recorder treasurer.
So they're making it okay. Sure.
Very confusing.
Alright, so obviously this is something I think we're gonna have to motion on since it's an ordinance, but I'm interested to hear everyone else, you guys know where I sit, but I really think we're doing a good service to finding a recorder by trying to add on 5 different branches of our city government onto one person for an hourly gig. That's a tough rule.
Is there a way that we can make use of
We got stuck last time, same area, and we were discussing this, and it appears as if, perhaps we need to separate all of that away from the recorder's, not the recorder's job. So then, whose job is it?
He just read it off. It's the treasurer and the mayor, fire department, police department, and the city clerk.
Okay, what I'm getting at is if we make that decision, that might be the correct thing to do. Law says we gotta have a recorder, and so before we can post it, maybe you saw it's strictly gonna be taking the records from the meetings and that's all. So then we now have to make the rest of the city staff where now all of a sudden they've got all this other stuff to deal with too.
Well, before, it was just falling solely on Paul, on the treasurer, and do that whole thing now. So it seems to me if everyone's chipping in now, the job just got easier. I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's bad in any way, I'm just saying it was on one person's shoulder, now it's put on 5.
Well, all I was trying to do tonight was let's figure out what we can do to hire a reporter.
Right. But yeah,
How we make it attractive, somebody will come and fight the job.
so then we need to decide, do we want to make it how it was, where it was basic?
Well, that's the discussion we're having.
I'm one person, there's 5 orders, enjoy.
I would definitely endorse just taking it down to the stripped down version to just take the minutes, because I think we can find somebody relatively quickly to do that. If they know they're not gonna have to do FOIAs, and they know it's just gonna be 2 hours twice a month for a set amount of money, that's it, in and out. I think that'll be a whole lot easier to find somebody.
I agree.
I think that's what we needed, that was the whole logic of this exercise tonight, so at the city council meeting, we'll vote to do that, let's just hire somebody to just attend the meeting and take the notes.
So if we can put it out there, if it happens before the next newspaper, all you need to do is come and type the minutes out and provide it to us. If we know anybody with connections to the Baxter Bulletin.
Well, I think that'll solve the legal problem now. Well, the fallout in City Hall, or two, may be a little different.
I think now's probably the best time of betting. I mean, what if we start developing a system that just gives everyone all the information at the end of every week or month? You know, we're dealing with all this FOIA stuff. What if all the emails, all the bills, all the payments, all the letters received went onto a Google Drive at the end of every month, so now, or every week, so when people want to know what happened with payroll, or what bills were paid, instead of all this, they had a drive, and we cut down our FOIA applications by, what? There's not only a couple cents because they didn't want to backdate things, but, you know, we're dealing with all these issues because we're just not getting it out there.
I guess you could say Google, we didn't know what message.
I heard if you put your heels together and all works out, but.
Mom gets all their requests out of the contract.
So I'm trying to put them together, you know, you still have to put everything together, but the point is if we're just putting everything out there to begin with, so if a bill comes in, it goes through the scanner, it gets uploaded to a drive. There's a way to tag all that stuff. So that cuts down on all this necessity of having someone that has. So one of our most FOIA things is payroll, right? So now we put payroll out on our city website, that way someone on Friday when they have a bug in their crawl and wants to get angry at us about something, they click on that, well, there's all the information. You can still legally FOIA it, but now all we have to do is click on that and send them the link. I'm just saying there's ways to start cutting down this stuff where it's not such a burden.
I think you've got a good idea there. I think this is forcing us in that direction to realign how we're handling that stuff. And some of the recommendations you make work great. But we need to work in that direction to start doing it. We're forcing ourselves into that by the choices we're making now to separate these jobs.
So there's a way of streamlining. All it takes is 100% transparency. That's the key. If we just give everybody everything, what do we have to worry about if we're doing it mentally? So that's just where I stand on it. I think we have other people's opinions and agree. I agree.
Well, we might, if you want to vote on it, we might put something together, some resolution or something for well, it could be $50 a meeting too, which is what we did. Yeah, 50 that's for a special meeting, then $50. If we get 50 for something? Maybe we can.
Breath, sewer cleaning? No, not sewer cleaning.
No, I'm sorry?
Are you ready for sewer cleaning?
I'm ready to speak on that, yeah. So it's happened about me. And we got a little letter of concerned citizens, so I don't have to talk about that. I thought that was excellent.
I'm just going to talk about what I think we should do with this sewer issue. I have a lot of experience in this area, some people do not. You're talking about hiring professionals. I consider myself a professional. I did this for 20 years, and I do know what I'm talking about. So I feel like the citizens of this city hired me for some of these reasons, and I'm going to try to explain myself. And I actually saw I've met the sewer people yesterday morning.
I've seen some of the manholes. Actually, about 6 months ago, I rode around the top, the upper 9 golf course with Mr. Forbes, and saw how terrible that was, and you can't even hardly drive a four-wheel course through there. Anyway, I'm trying to put my thoughts together and make this make sense. I think what we were trying to do, this is my opinion, by purchasing a piece of equipment, we were not going to totally redo our sewer system. We were going to clear areas so that we could get a camera into the sewer manholes so that we can find the leaks that are causing us problems with the AGQ. These manholes are in ravines. I mean, I looked at a couple the other day that I couldn't even walk down. And the manhole was sitting on a ledge probably 5 or 10 feet with a drop off to the side. These sewer lines were all put in a ditch because if you understand how sewer systems work, if you have a hill up here and you have a ditch down here, if you put it on the hill, you're going to dig 20 more feet to get to the sewer line. If you put it in the ditch, you're going to dig 5 feet. So they put them all in a freaking ditch. And as far as I know, from talking to the mayor and some other people who know these things, I laid a lot of lines, but we never put the material back in the ditch. That was a huge no-no, not do that. You would bed the thing with gravel, you would typically run a foot and a half or 2 foot of sand on top of your pipe to protect you from anything that you might put back in there. On these sewer lines, I believe, I could be wrong, they just dug it out, made the pipe in the ground, and put all that shit back in the hole. That's what they did. And we wonder why we have problems with our sewer lines. And when you look at the terrain where they did these projects, you can understand why they did this, because the projects I did were in like South Dakota, Iowa, Kansas, Texas. We have lots of room, and we can throw dirt and backfill and everything. So if you have a 5-foot easement on each side of your sewer line, and you're expected to stay in that easement, how would you get a 12 to 20-foot ditch? What would you do with your dirt? How would you backfill it? How would you do anything with it? How would you get a loader in there? You couldn't get a loader in there to backfill it, or a dozer in there to backfill it. So my point is, we are stuck with something that we inherited, and it's been completely ignored for the last 15 or 20 years. This should have been done like every 10 years to clear this area out, so that we could get a camera in there. If we have problems, then we can fix it. So we are not talking about replacing our sewer line. I think what we're talking about is repairing some bad sections of it with different techniques. I think Flippin has done something about, and there are other techniques where you can actually stick a little robot in there and it sprays the inside of your pipe. And then that repairs it, and you don't have to dig it up and replace it. Or you can have a little robot that will go in there with a clamp, and it will just bring the thing back, and it'll just expand the clamp in that area and secure it when the robot car comes out. So I think that's what we're looking at. We're not looking at replacing the entire sewer system. I would not try to do that. The mayor would not try to do that. The machine we were talking about, and I'm going to say the word excavator, because I think that's a bad word. I think we have enough people in the city who could operate that machine. This is my opinion. And do this on a part-time basis. Clear some areas, get the camera in there, check if there's a problem. If there's a problem and it's 20 feet, we're not fixing it anyway, right? We're going to find another way to fix it through a different method. There are lots of new methods out there. So, it was totally misrepresented what I was trying to say, what I was trying to do, and what Merle was trying to do, is we just need a piece of equipment to clear these right-of-ways so that we can get a camera in there, period. You can't even walk down there to get to the manhole. How are you going to get a camera in there? You know? And these distribution lines are down from the hill, and they're 8 or 10 inches. And I think that's where our problem is. If you laid a sewer line into a creek bed 40, 50 freaking years ago, you might get some water in it. Because the water is going to naturally go into the ditch that you just dug that wasn't there. God didn't put it there, but the sewer people did. And so when you have a bunch of water coming down the hill, it's going to go in that ditch line because that ditch line has been dug out. It just makes sense. So you're going to get a lot of water in that existing sewer ditch line. So typically on a sewer leak, it's from the sewer from inside to the outside. We have the opposite problem. We have infiltration from rainwater. That's why we have a problem with ADQ. That's why the manholes flood, because we get so much rainwater into our sewer system and the plant can't, it has to go somewhere. So I think Alan they talked about this. What we need is a retaining pond that when we get these inches of rain, the water will run into this retaining pond, and that big pool of water would prevent the water from coming up out of the manhole and going into the river. So when we do get some money, when we do get a grant to do something with the sewer system, I think that's the primary thing that we should do. And they should have built to start with, okay, knowing the problems they've had with the past. So I was 100% for this machine because I think we could use it temporarily to clear some of the areas, help murl some ditches, help murl some trees, and move the machine back and forth. So the machine wasn't for the street department, it was for the sewer department. But it would be shared with the street department, with the water department. So that would give us two backhoes. We would sell a backhoe, keep the good backhoe, and keep this other machine. So these are all my ideas. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. But I just appreciate the fact that I get to speak to it because I have something to say. Also, I called the bank today. I was impressed with Mr. Bancher, and they said they would consider loaning the city money to buy a piece of equipment. I stated I think the interest rate was 6%. I think on this lease. He said that was a good number. Yeah, I said around 6%. He said that's not a bad rate for a loan. And he said it would probably be in that number. So if we wanted to buy a piece of equipment, they would need some tax records, some financial statements, which would be hard to get at the moment. And then they could probably help us with a loan. And then we could maybe depreciate the machine, maybe take the interest off of our taxes, and go down that road. So all I'm doing is presenting some facts that I'm very familiar with, and kind of clarifying my position on what I think we should do. This has been put off for 10 or 15 years. So I think we're kind of in a hurry here because the AEQ is after us, and we need to do something. If we hire this out, I don't know where the money is coming from. I have no idea where that is coming from. And if we're waiting for a grant, that will be sometime next year. These grants do not happen quickly. I'm very specific on what they will give you the money for. I'm not sure you can get a grant to clear a sewer right away. And you can, and you can't. I don't know the answers to those. I'm just saying, I'm putting my position out there because for me, I think it makes sense based on my experience. And we were not going to replace the sewer system, the whole thing. We were not. That was never the plan. I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'd like to say just a few words. History on these lines goes back, I can't remember, 2008 or 10, somewhere back there. Anyway, this is the last time this was addressed, and we were using prisoners to clean out that right of way. We couldn't take care of it then, we can't take care of it now. We didn't have a camera to run through those things, we're having to borrow our camera. It seems short-sighted of the city to have a situation like that, not to have the proper equipment to take care of it, which is where we are now. Where we'll be if we don't change this, where we're going to be in the future. And the other issue is the pressures come from ADEQ, and the option is on the city, what are we doing to fix our problem? And so Russ knows far more about the ins and outs of the pipe and whatnot than I do, but I know that the optic of the city trying to help itself is going to go a long way with ADEQ, and it will also help us next year. I told you briefly that they've got it in committee, sent stuff to me right now, I think it was October 17th, they got anyway, they're looking at water and wastewater for rural communities of 3,000 people and less for grants. That's going to hit next year. But we've got ADQ on us this year. So I agree with Russ. I think long term, you might save money by hiring a company to come in here, but then what are you gonna do 5 years down the road? Bring them back and pay them again? Does it make sense for us not to have this stuff we need to take care of our own situation going forward? I don't think so. So it's up to you guys to figure out which way you wanna go. Be opinion wise, pound foolish or not.
One last thing I should add, and there was some talk about getting some estimates on clearing this land. I mean, you would have to walk all of it, or you'd be a crazy person to get a bid on this, because you have no idea what you're up against. You can't.
We can't get the camera down there to bid on.
Yeah, so if you were to bid this project in any shape, way, or form, someone would have to walk, I don't know, how much land are we talking about, Earl? We're talking miles?
2.5 or
Well, I'm talking about the worst stuff. Yeah, miles.
almost 4 miles.
Okay, and you have to walk it, and right now it's a bad time to walk because of the critters, for sure. So, I don't know if we passed the point of no return on this for this year. I mean, I can't speak to that. But I'm just saying, yeah, maybe you could find someone to bid this out. But that person is going to cover their ass, and they're going to make sure they don't lose money. Or you're looking at time and materials, which is an unknown amount of money. Unknown. So, and maybe you could get prisoners in there. I don't know.
Well, that's what we did years back, but now all they can do, they're not gonna move the dirt, they're gonna chop up all the trees and roots and get that stuff out of the way. They can't move big rocks, they can't do what needs to be done. Sooner or later, all that piece of equipment in there.
But the whole idea is to get a camera, get a tripod. Merle can maybe speak to this better than I, and Ed's here, and maybe he can speak. I would appreciate his input. I just don't think, I understand this and it's scared of me when I was with you. So, I don't know what we're going to do, but we need to do something.
I'd like to touch on a couple of go ahead.
Brought up, versus the grants, there are grants coming through, but those grants will require an engineering plan by a professional who, first and foremost. So, for my piece of equipment, that's not their like flag of, oh, they're going to go give them money. We'll have to have a professional engineering plan to get a grant from the state, like all the other grants. As far as the walking it, anyone that's going to put a bid in is going to walk anything, whether it be the property I had cleared in Ray Valley or anything. That's just what you normally do when you put in bids and look at projects. You walk them or your own. People have their own today too. But you're right. Once we do get this cleared, we're going to have to upkeep it, but over $750,000 piece of equipment with a $4,000 monthly payment when we haven't looked into renting the equipment, what it could be done for professionally. I understand we need to get this done, but all those things also.
I have checked into that, bringing the equipment,
We-
$6,000 a month.
Okay, so.
That's for one piece of equipment.
I understand that, but we just, at the beginning of this meeting, had a long discussion on how we don't have manpower or time to get the things done that we have going on already. So where are we getting this time from once we buy this machinery to get it done? They're not linear, they don't go at the same rate. So I understand we need to look good for the ADQ, which by the way, we have a meeting with them in the EPA tomorrow, and discussions have been had with them. At no point in those discussions did they say buying this piece of equipment was going to make us look good in their eyes. What they did say is hiring out professional people to look at the situation and develop an engineering plan. It is a great skill. So I don't know why we're still riding the equipment thing when we haven't explored the other half of it.
All we're after is cleaning the easements. And I've been running equipment for 40 years doing this stuff. If you think I'm not a professional, you are sadly mistaken.
I never said you weren't capable. I never said you weren't capable of clearing that
But
land.
minus
But buying a $300,000 piece of equipment, if you look at the monthly payments, you said it would take 2 months to clean two miles, right? That's what you said at the special meeting. It would
Yeah,
take
it's
2
at
months.
least 2 months.
So if it's $6,000 to rent that equipment, and then be done with it in 2 months for 12, that's 4 months.
That's one piece of equipment. That's not an operator.
Yeah,
fine.
Bro, I would like to say, I'm sorry if I made it come across that I thought you weren't a professional. I know you're a very good professional at what you do. So I would like to openly say, I'm sorry if it came across that way. I genuinely mean that. So, but what I am saying is a $300,000 piece of equipment, there's something that's going to sit dormant while we're trying to fix every other issue we have going around the city isn't going to necessarily fix this one.
The machine is there to fix everything else we have going on in town too. I got more than probably 50 work orders for limbs hanging over the road. I cannot stick guys up in a bucket to do this because it's dangerous. But this machine has a mulch head on that will take these branches down and chew them up on the spot, not flail them all over the place. There's a lot of people that were very upset with that John Deere because it was throwing branches everywhere.
And we're financing, back to the machine, I'm not saying we're going to lease the machine, but I think they're misrepresenting the number. We're financing $200,000, not $300,000.
How much is it gonna cost us at the end of the
Around
5-year
30,
period?
okay, $3,300 a month, you can do the math.
How much will it cost us at the end of the 5-year period? I have the list right here. It comes out to $313,000 by the time we pay $1 for the machine.
I have it right here.
But if you take that lease payment and next year you get a grant, you can pay that machine off.
Total lease price is $200,828 for the refrigerator, not the $314.
That has nothing to do with interest on our principal.
No, the interest is $26,000. You're reading it wrong. In my opinion,
If you do the math right here, it comes out to $200.
Well,
I have far more emails from citizens saying they don't want us to buy this piece of machinery than I have from people.
yeah, based on what you said on Facebook.
I know. Believe me, I've read that.
And some things on Facebook are not true.
Well, some things like telling your community that ADEQ says if you buy this piece of equipment, we're going to be all good. I never said that. I didn't say you did, Russ. I didn't say it did. Someone else did.
Any other comments from anybody else on that? Okay. Everybody hear me? So, now finance. First off, I want to talk a little bit about what I've done the last week in City Hall. We've gotten payroll paid, even though all over the hospital. We've got our payroll taxes paid. We've got all our bills paid. I can sit here and tell you right now, I would not have been able to help as much as I have and accomplish what I had if it were not for Paula's help. I understand that she made mistakes, and I understand also that she's been reprimanded for most of those mistakes. I can also sit here and tell you right now that she obviously learned from those mistakes based off of the notes that she had. When I walked in, I was handed a piece of paper that told me these are the bills that have to be paid bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, what departments, what websites I need to go to, and file that. They were very, very well made notes. People are human, people make mistakes. And that's one of the things that this town has got to start understanding. But we also have to be transparent and say, hey, look, we made mistakes. We'll try not to do it again, but people are human. So I just wanted to let everybody know what I found personally from being back there and working on the project. Going into the reporter position, I completely agree that we have to have a reporter by law. We gotta have that. I completely agree that we need to redo that resolution that describes what the reporter is going to do, where they're just going to be here for the meeting, take the minutes, and do the minimum of what those reporter position titles
public state of Arkansas defines it as their job recommendations and job duties. When it comes to our sewer issues, so the last, the special meeting that we had, I was handed a proposal. It was from the EPA. I also asked if I could be added to that call. That call is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I have spoken with the AAQ multiple times. I have been sending me the permit that the council had voted on to have Bill sign. And I want to read to you guys the requirements for this proposal as it sits right now, that is dated from October 23rd, 2025. There are 5 items on this list that have to be done by October 23rd, 2026. First one, perform a smoke testing in all areas of the collection system, beginning with the highest priority areas. Number 2, perform televising of lines in areas deemed necessary based on the smoke test in order to locate leaks and determine a method of repair. Number 3, develop a plan to address deficiencies through rehabilitation, repair, or replacement. Step 4, develop a manhole inspection program to begin in the highest priority areas. And step 5, recommend a method of repair and develop a cost estimate for such, based off of the results of the above study. Respondent will be able to identify areas that require improvements and to prioritize those improvements, considering short-term and long-term improvements necessary to remedy the deficiency. So, I don't know if everybody understands what that says, so I'm going to break it down to you guys in layman terms. We got to do a smoke test of our whole system. Yes, sir.
We had them come out and do smoke testing, so we could find bad spots. They want to do it so quick that we now have our own smoke testing machine, and we have already started taking more smoke tests.
Yes. Yes. No, from what she told me, that all this has been being worked on since last October, and that we have got multiple government agencies that we are working with, and that they're not
At the meeting in Brock, we go over what we've done, and then they tell us what they want for the next month, and that's what we put.
I don't know if the rest of the council knows, you're invited on that call as well too. Yes, it's a link, we're all invited to it at 10 in the morning. So,
everybody was at that meeting with. So, what this is saying is that, A, we have to have the smoke test done of the entire system, not just a piece. When you start reading this document, it's on the AAQ website. The lady I was talking to said that she's pretty sure it's on our website. It's all public knowledge. There's nothing in here that isn't 100% public. We have to smoke test everything. We have to, anything that shows a smoke test that fails, we have got to send the scope down there. That's why we approved buying the scope, so that we can get to the big pipes that the other scope that we have can't get to. After we get that done, so we've done a smoke test and then we scope the lines. Between those two, that develops a plan of remediation of what we need to do. Okay, so that covers step 3. Step 1 and step 2 gives us step 3. Step 4, based off of that, the city will then come in and say, okay, here's what the inspection and maintenance plan is going to be going forward, that we will deliver to the state, that whether it's monthly, quarterly, or however often we have to by law. That says, hey, look, we've checked X, Y, and Z within our sewer system. The next step after that is to get with basically contractors and find out what is it going to cost. Don't get hits. Find out what it's going to cost to get this fixed. Can we get, and then provide them basically a milestone tracker of what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, when it's going to be done. So I do milestone trackers all day long. That basically says, hey, the project's going to start on January 1st, and
each week, we're gonna have X, Y, and Z completed until we get to an end date. When I was talking to this lady, she said that all of the agencies on here are eager to help us. They want to help us. Nobody wants to give us a fine. If we don't comply, they will give us a fine. But they are very, very happy and eager to help us because they're part of the state too. If we look bad, they look bad. So everybody that's involved in these calls is there and they want to help us. So basically, with this, all we are doing, and we can get an extension if we ask for it, but we have to do it in writing, and we have to do it within, I think it was like 15 or 30 days before the due date, so that they can approve. Depending on how bad the system is, will determine how long they're going to grant us to fix this. She said that there was one town, and I don't remember the name of the town, so I don't want to be quoted wrong, but they ended up with a 10-year plan. It was a 10-year plan because they had to redo all their infrastructure, they had to build a new plant, they had to do everything. And they knew there was no way that they were going to be able to get it done within a year or anything less than 10 years. So that's out on their website for us to go look at and see. So right now, the only thing that we have to do is smoke and stoke. Camera, scope, televising, whichever terminology you guys understand or want to use. That's what we've got to do. We don't have to fix anything right now. We fix it after. We come up with the game plan, and then we have the ability to go get bids. That's where this comes into play. Now, like what everybody else up here is saying, there is stuff that has to happen around the city, and it needs to be done, and it needs to be done in a timely manner, but we don't have the manpower to do it right now. I have a couple of ideas on how to get this smoke test done with as little to no, I don't think no is even optional answer. But I'm going to find out tomorrow on the call on if my ideas are approved by them. If they are, we can minimize the 4 miles of excavating to something shorter. And at that point in time, we could look at, okay, does it make sense to hire somebody to come excavate? Does it make sense to buy a piece of equipment to excavate? Does it make sense to rent something to excavate? Yes, the city needs new equipment to be able to maintain our streets, our sewers, our water, everything. We need equipment to do that. We have some equipment. I get that it's not the greatest nor the safest from what I saw today. I get that. But there are possibilities for us as a municipality to be able to get and possibly even with that grant, be able to purchase equipment to help us maintain our city for future use. I don't think that we need to make a purchase right now until we see what's really going on. And I understand a lot better now that you made the explanation that nobody thought originally that we were going to do a DIY on this. I'll tell you right now, from the meetings that I have been and read and listened to, that is exactly what I thought everybody wanted. After talking with people, I understand that that's not what you guys are going after. We need the cameras.
We have to camera these, and, well, that, yeah, well, we're going to have to do some excavating to be able to get the cameras there. But we can also do smoke tests before we get the cameras there. Correct. Can we smoke test that 4 mile section?
You have to set the smoke down the bottom,
Yep.
and then you're talking, you have to put in as much smoke as you can, as much liquid smoke as you possibly can, because then you're talking about walking up the entire mountain and finding the manholes where looking for a little bit of smoke coming out in full. I mean, not in open area.
Right.
So that's your,
I've got a couple ideas, like I said.
okay,
that
I'm just letting you know.
I don't want to bring them up right now because all the nations that the government approved. I don't want to get hopes up or anything like
The
that.
people that we talk to, tomorrow on you, or whoever's there, they're set to help us get grants once they know the problem. They want us to find the problems if that's our good, and that's why we thought we needed something to clear the way so that we would be able to find the problem. And then getting it fixed, they would help us get the grant.
Yes.
So just making sure you know.
So I'm right there with you on that, and I really think that I have a much cheaper solution that would be really easy for us to do without having to walk. So, yes, sir. 100%.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive.
We're gonna check it Thursday, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I have done some extensive research on it. I found several different companies that are here local in Arkansas that have got the type of equipment that we would need. I honestly need the EPA and the ADAQ's approval to be able to look at it and use it.
No offense, but can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I do this to be just specific. You're gonna take the drone, and you're gonna go over and you're gonna see smoke coming out of the mountain, or smoke coming out of the ground. Okay, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna repair it with the drone? We're gonna end up having to clear our way down there anyway?
Yeah. So what this would do is right now we're looking at, you guys just said 4 miles.
Okay,
Of stuff that we would possibly have to excavate. My thought process is if we can get a drone out there and say, hey, look, the first 3 miles, we don't have problems, but the last 2 miles we do.
our area.
This is the part that we have to excavate. Let's go get that excavated so that we can now finish up this process. Because if we can only excavate half the problem, or half that problem area, we've saved money and we've sped the process up. Maybe we're able to get all the data over to them before October. Here's where we're at. And then the cost of bringing the equipment to excavate it or contracting it out drops significantly because we're not having to have it for the full time. Then as soon as we get, here is the plan, here is the data, here is everything, we go get our grants. And we write the grants to where we get money for our equipment so that we can maintain it. Because yes, we have to be able to maintain our stuff, guys. We have city workers, we have people, that's what they do, and they gotta have equipment to do it. So, like I said from the very beginning, I'm not saying no to the equipment, I'm saying no to buying that piece of equipment right this second. Let's find out what we have. So, since you're here,
I don't need to buy.
no, you're not. I appreciate you being, because you're giving me information that I've been trying to get that I haven't been able to. The first meeting I joined, they said there were 200 manholes. The second meeting, they were like, well, that's our problem, children. We actually have 800. How many manholes have we already performed smoke tests on?
We did manholes in this city that we could get to by the roads. Nothing out, on the mountains, up the mountains. We didn't do anything going out like what's the name of that? Road we go up to, 1 meter.
What percentage?
Our percentage, I would say we probably did 550.
550 manholes?
Yeah, 8.
Okay, so you've done 7%. Out of the 7%, how many have failed?
Okay, we went through and made a list of everything that we found that was bad. We did not find one where it was coming out of the ground. Not one. We found problems like covers, the clean out, covers being off. Well, we let the people know whatever house it was at, we sent them warnings and pictures of what they needed to repair. And a third of them repaired, the rest of them just, don't worry about it.
So, right now, let's say that worst case scenario over this problem, but everything else fails. We would be at 25 to 30% is what we would need to actually go in and prepare. Correct? If it's worst case scenario, everything else fails.
Now, can I say
Yes.
one thing without making that? Some of our manholes are 5 foot deep. Okay, well, that's where smoke and truck can come up quick. Some of our manholes are 20 foot deep. Well, okay, it comes out of the manhole itself, but you're not going to see a leak come up the ground, through the ground. Smoke comes through the ground 20 foot deep. I mean, whereas if it rains, once it gets wet, it begins to. You understand what I mean?
Okay.
So, smoke testing is a good idea where to go, but it doesn't, I mean, it's not a sure thing.
And please don't ever feel like you're gonna make them mad.
No,
That ain't gonna happen.
The camera is gonna be the final arbiter on that, and the problem we've got is the three main trunks going down through the canyon. We can't access all of the manhole covers with the cart that the camera's on. We can't even get to it and run the camera. It's too deep for the smoke to come up where the hole is. We're gonna have to find it with the camera.
And that's part of that second step is you guys use the camera.
We gotta get access
Right.
for the camera.
So, and that's what I'm saying, is we can do smoke tests, and if EPA and AEQ allow us to get the right kind of drone and hover over, and we can sit there and use GPS, or GIS, I think is what they call it, and they just drop a pin, drop a pin, drop a pin, and we
Well,
say, hey,
this
look.
camera has got a 500-foot cable, which is what I'm told. You could, in theory, you can go 1,000 feet around the manhole, 500 up, 500 down,
Right.
scan that. And the question then becomes, well, how many manholes can we not get to with the car?
My other question is, can we just get out of the smoke test for now, if we do all that, and then will that give us more time to camera the rest of it, or do we have to do the camera by October day?
So, based off of what this says, is that it has to be, if the smoke test fails, the camera has to go down the line.
Oh, so the camera is after the failure?
Yes.
So we don't have a camera for everything?
We don't have to camera it unless it fails. So that's what I'm saying, we can smoke test, and we only find that we've got, hey, look, we're a mile in, we got 2 spots. What's the easiest, quickest way to get us in there? Because our smoke test just showed us that we got these 2 spots, and then from there, we've got, like you just said, 500 feet this way and 500 feet that way. So that therefore, by then, we have now appeased the EPA for this portion of the ask. The next portion of the ask is, okay, now fix it.
But the smoke test will only show you breaks in the line that are close to the surface.
How deep?
It's easier for the smoke to go down and do an open airway than it is to tight ground. And if it's deep, which, like I said, some 25, but some are 20 foot deep. And if you get cracked 20 foot deep down, the smoke won't come up. The water will go this way again and go in.
No, I completely understand that. The section that we're talking about, that's the bad section. Do we have any idea how deep those pipes are?
So, going down the mountain, there's nothing saying you hole or hole. Because the mountain isn't ever going down. I mean, you understand. So the backside, it can go from 20 to 10 to 20 to 5. And then you can understand what I'm saying. So,
I just didn't know if you possibly knew from experience.
they're not the same going down the mountain. We're put in some width away at the mountain. And as long as they got 4% grade, it was legal.
Right. No, I understand that, yeah. I didn't know.
Bottom line is, we've got to figure out how to get sand all the way down through this stuff. That's all there is to it. Everything else is
That's a smoke test.
And what the smoke test is positive, and this is no test. If the smoke test comes back as no failures, we don't have to scope those pipes.
Okay?
That's literally what this says. Now, is that saying that those pipes are, if there isn't something wrong with it? I'm not going to say that. But at that point in time, we now have the time to go get the grant and the funds to be able to go in there and fix everything. I spoke to Flippin, I spoke to Colby Butcher at Flippin, and I asked him about how they just did Flippin sewer system and the water system. He said they had 3 different grants. The grants are already out there. So we should be able to get some grants this year. I don't think, seeing how they've had. One of them was the USDA grant. He said he couldn't remember the other. He said they put it all up to bid. The contracting company that did Flipping for the sewer was from South Dakota. Their whole crew came and stayed in Bullshore. So if we get grants and contract this stuff out, the second that we get a grant, it makes it a prevailing wage job. That means that all the contractors out there in the world are going to be jumping at it because they're going to get paid more than what they typically get paid. They're also going to get paid more per diem, so they're going to be out there spending more money. It's having a contractor come in here to do the work, and do it properly after we find out everything that's wrong, and get it fixed, to where you guys can just do your job and maintain it. We're no longer held liable. If they mess it up, they gotta come back and fix it. Part of their contract. And I see a lot of financial gains for the city if we do this the right way. And I also see us getting the equipment that the city needs. But we gotta do it the right way. And we gotta go about this the right way. Is there any questions based on what I've just told you?
Good work. Thank you. Thank you for the
Yes,
opportunity.
thank you for doing that.
Well, I'm just trying to make sure that we get the best bang for our buck. That's literally what I do. My job is to get the best bang for the buck, and that's what I'm trying to do. When it comes to the next step of this, where we see proposals, one of the things that I want to request is that the proposal come over without name. I don't want to know what the company's name is whenever everybody looks at it. I want to see their scope of work. I want to see caveats that they've written in, and I want to see a price. I don't want to know what company came from. I hope that local people put in bids for it. I hope that it's not just people from out of state, but if so be it. But I want everybody to have an equal chance on getting this work. Now on to my next topic. Sorry guys, this is going to be short. This goes back into the whole, what Mr. Hutchinson brought up earlier. The resolution that we voted on, yes, is the way it was worded, made it seem that we were voting to hire somebody, but it was not. It was made, we were voting on the appointing of them to be basically an appointed position. The rate the person is hired at, I think that, one, anybody's job that they're doing, they should be paid based on their skill set. If you have credentials or if you have X amount of experience, it should be equivalent. Anytime I go to apply for a job, I apply for one in a while, not to work. If I want to go back to doing engineering, I don't have an engineering degree, but I can sit there and I can say, I have that many years experience, so I should get paid that. I think that we need to go back and look at our budget, and we need to go back and
worry to look at what we are paying our employees, what their skill sets are, and we need to do whatever we can to bring more money into this town so that we can get them paid what they need to be paid. The rates that we're paying our employees is not fair, it's not right, they are getting robbed in my eyes. Plain and simple. I don't know if it's is there, I don't even know if this is a thing anymore, is there a pension plan for city employees? Is there anything like that that we can put into effect? What can we do? I'm open to ideas, I'm open to anything, I hope that our citizens are as well. So what can we do to bring in more money to our town that's tax dollars? So if anybody's got anything, let's hear it. Because we need to get our employees paid right. Our employees aren't being paid right. So that's really the only last thing that I have to say for my comments. Let's look at our budget, let's look at what we can do to bring in more money, and let's get our employees paid what they need to be paid, so that we can eat, and so that they can live, especially if we expect them to live in town. I mean, let's make it, let's make it fair, guys.
Yeah, that's the back nine.
Back nine, yes. So, I went out with Dale last weekend to see the damage that had been done back there. I was not here when everything was going on. I have asked for any kind of documentation. I can tell that what is damage that's done out there is not weather related. Some of it can be said it's weather related based off of, all of that rain that we've got. But it wasn't like that the last time I was back there. Now it's been a long time. I was back there playing golf. But there's a lot of broken concrete, broken rebar, still in concrete. There was one spot we went to try to go through the grass, and I told Dale, nope, can't go there because that you keep concrete laying in the weeds. If this is a cause from the city needs to do something to fix it. Once again, that comes down to what takes precedence. Is it the trees? Is it the potholes? Is it the mowing? Is it the sewer lines? Is it the excavating? We have so many things right now that we have to do, and we need to be taking care of them. We need to get people in here. We need to get your staffed up, you staffed up, you staffed up. From what I'm hearing, we've got to sit down and relook at the budget and see where we can bring in more people. That's the only way we can ever be able to do it. But we also got to have the right kind of people to do that as well. But before we got to get equipment, we got to have manpower. I mean, it's just it's that simple. So, but that is all that I have. If you guys have anything based on what I said.
Citizen comment?
The $20 an hour is ridiculous. It's not a very qualified man. So is that man. So is that man. And everybody else that has worked in the city over 10 years. Not only is it making $20 an hour, you guys forgot about his insurance. It's a large chunk of money. The video that you just made for the parks and trying to bring people in, I would nix that right now. Why I'm saying this is that if you take our town and our parks, they're not up to standards for a regular person that comes in this town who can't find the sidewalks because the grass is this high. Doesn't say anything like, welcome to bull Shoals. It's a standard that I don't want anyone else to see that are throughout the country that come down here and see the parks overgrown. Go down to Browns Beach. It's a mess. The bathrooms are a mess. Marty and I just mowed those on Saturday, and I cleaned the bathrooms. I'm a volunteer, people. I don't know what else I can do to help you. But you can't have 1.5 purses. You've got one, and then the other one is telling the other one what to do and how to do it. And here's the keys, and it isn't being done right anyway. Something, if you want this town to grow, everybody is going to have to help. And remember, a volunteer isn't I'm not your payroll. I just care about this town. None of the parks are up to snuff. They haven't been mowed. Point Return is a disaster. I wouldn't take a child up there. The leaves are still there. There's trees down. It's a mess. Why would you want your little kid running through leaves this high? Bathrooms are horrible. My car folks left me. And part of it was politics in this town. Part of it was begging for somebody to mow our grass. The city needs to hire a company to come in and take all care of doing all the parks. Get rid of all the mowers. Get rid of the kids that try to mow it. The only thing that I see in this town that is mowed is the baseball field. And that looks pretty good. Go across, and Dan Jam is a mess. It's as messy as it was last year when we had to have everybody come in and clean it up. I don't know what your answer is here, but if you want to make money, you've got to clean up this town. And it starts out there. It starts in every park. You want to bring people in and tourists? This is where you start.
Motion to adjourn.
Kenny, did you ever get anything worked out on the gas system yet? I know you're not responsible for it,
No, they never want to do that.
but they're still on the line on that.
Do what?
They're still on the line on that. It's none of our business.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have it.
It's not your fault, to be clear. It's the county that may give you the credits or whatever. All right, I'm just curious.
Second motion to adjourn.